Hello and welcome to this edition of World at War. My name is Mohammed Saleh. The massive explosion that ripped through India's national capital near the iconic Red Fort has opened a whole new chapter of white-collar terrorism and the conspiracy behind it. The blast happened at about 6:52 p.m. on the 10th of November during the evening rush hour. And soon, what blew up in everyone's face was the scale of what had transpired. More than 2,900 kilograms of ammonium nitrate and other explosive material was found. Several doctors who were in one way or another associated with the Al-Falah University in Faridabad were rounded up. Now, several of the doctors who have been arrested are from the Kashmir Valley. The Indian government, which has taken a hardline stance on terrorism, has condemned the blast in Delhi as an act of terror and has vowed to hunt down the perpetrators. And just hours before the Red Fort blast, the Jammu and Kashmir police had announced that it had cracked an interstate and transnational white-collar terror module linked to the Pakistan-based Jaish-e-Mohammed and the Ansar Ghazwat-ul-Hind, an Al-Qaeda-affiliated terror group. Our next report gets you the details.
The Hyundai i20 car that exploded in a ball of flames is just the tip of the iceberg of a terror module. On the fateful day of the blast, few could comprehend the scale of what had been inflicted. At the blast scene, there was just mangled metal and burnt-out wreckage. The investigative agencies have since revealed that Umar Nabi, the man who was driving the i20 car when it suddenly exploded, was an expert bomb maker, and about 2 kgs of ammonium nitrate had been used in the deadly explosion. Forensic investigations have also revealed that such explosives can be prepared in about 5 to 10 minutes. The security agencies are also probing if Umar Nabi prepared the explosives at the nearby parking lot where he had parked the car for over 3 hours before the explosion. According to the investigating agencies, Umar Nabi, a Kashmiri doctor affiliated with the Al-Falah University in Haryana's Faridabad, had initially planned to detonate the bomb near the parking at the Red Fort. But he reportedly panicked after the arrest of his associates and the massive recovery of explosives in Faridabad. The Indian Prime Minister, who was on a visit to Bhutan at the time of the blast in Delhi, vowed to hunt down all the perpetrators.
Today, I come here with a very heavy heart. The horrific incident that took place in Delhi yesterday evening has deeply saddened everyone. I understand the grief of the affected families. I was in touch with all the agencies investigating this incident throughout last night. Discussions were underway and threads of information were being linked. Our agencies will get to the bottom of this conspiracy. The conspirators behind this will not be spared. All those responsible will be brought to justice.
The thread of the Delhi blast was linked to posters in the Naugam area of Srinagar, for which an FIR was registered on October 19th. As part of the investigation of this case, Dr. Muzammil Ahmed Ganai from Pulwama was picked up from Faridabad, where he worked at the Al-Falah School of Medical Sciences and Research Centre. Another doctor, Adil Majid Radar from Jammu and Kashmir's Anantnag district, was arrested in Saharanpur. The Al-Falah University in Haryana is under the scanner, as a number of doctors who have been arrested as part of the investigation were in one way or another linked to the university. Another red Ford EcoSport car, which the police suspect was used for transporting the ammonium nitrate, was found abandoned at the Kandavali village. The red EcoSport was registered in the name of Umar Nabi. The investigating agencies have also arrested Dr. Shaheen Shahid from Lucknow. According to sources within the agencies, Dr. Shaheen Shahid was tasked with establishing the women's wing of the Pakistan-based terror group Jaish-e-Mohammed in India. The investigative agencies say that Dr. Shaheen was handed charge of the India branch of the Pakistan-based JEM Women's Wing, Jamaat-ul-Mominat, which is headed by JEM founder Masood Azhar's sister, Sadia Azhar, in Pakistan. In the Kashmir Valley, the family members of those who have been arrested are distraught with disbelief.
From what I know, he was practicing as a doctor. I don't know if he's involved. We also used to send him money.
What can I say? I still don't believe he was involved because the kind of person he was, I'm shocked to know that he could do something like this.
When did he leave Kashmir? Where was he working these days?
He was working in Faridabad for the last 1.5 or 2 years.
On the 14th of November, the house of one of the key suspects behind the recent Delhi car blast, Umar Nabi, was demolished by authorities. And then, on the 15th of November, there was what is being described as an accidental blast at a police station in Naugam on the outskirts of Jammu and Kashmir, Srinagar.
A massive blast took place inside the police station of Naugam area on the outskirts of Srinagar today. As you can see, this is one of the houses which is very close to where the police station is.
A total of 9 people have been killed and more than 32 others have been injured.
The MLA of the area said that 90 houses have been damaged in the blast incident, whereas it was the same explosive which was brought by Jammu and Kashmir police.
The blast occurred when the police and forensic team officials were reportedly extracting samples from a large cache of explosives that was seized in connection with the white-collar terror module case from Haryana's Faridabad recently.
Sampling process, the handling was being done with extreme caution, with utmost caution by the FSL team. However, unfortunately, during this course, last night around 11:20 p.m., an accidental explosion has taken place. Any other speculation into the cause of this incident is unnecessary.
Early on Friday, Russia launched a heavy drone and missile attack on Ukraine, killing 6 people in Kiev and 2 more in southern Ukraine, in strikes that targeted energy facilities, apartment buildings and other infrastructure. In addition to the 6 people who were killed in Kiev, at least 34 people were injured across the city, including 2 children and a pregnant woman, in one of the biggest Russian attacks on Ukrainian capital so far. Now, Ukraine's Air Force claimed that it managed to shoot down 405 out of the 430 drones and 14 out of the 19 missiles that had been launched by Russia. But falling debris and fires had damaged high-rise apartments, a school, a medical facility and also other administrative buildings across 9 districts in the city of about 3 million people. Our next report gets you the details.
On the 7th of November, while hosting Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban at the White House, US President Donald Trump was a picture of confidence when he said that the Russia-Ukraine war will end in the not-too-distant future.
I think we agree that the war is going to end. Sometimes people have to fight it out a little bit longer, but I think we agree that the war is going to end in the not-too-distant future.
Less than a week later, Russia struck residential parts of Kyiv, killing 6 people in a single apartment block in one of the largest attacks on the Ukrainian capital since Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. 40-year-old Inna Vysotska and her 14-year-old son had to escape through a window after a Russian strike hit their neighborhood in Kyiv, leaving their home severely damaged.
We heard a loud bang and jumped up immediately. I was the first to head for the exit, to open the door and get out, with my child right following me. But when I opened the entrance door, I saw flames, a towering pillar of fire. I quickly locked the door again, and we came back here inside. We live on the 2nd floor. I lowered my child out through the window. My child is 14 years old. He is a teenager. I lowered my child first, and then I jumped through the window myself. People on the ground tried to catch us. They didn't manage to do it well as I hurt my leg.
In the east of the city, multi-story buildings with dozens of windows and balconies blown out and their facades charred beyond recognition narrated a tale of destruction. In addition to residential buildings in most of the capital's districts, Azerbaijan's embassy also bore the brunt of the Russian attack. Baku said an Iskander-type missile had destroyed part of its compound and summoned Moscow's envoy. In addition to the mayhem unleashed on Kyiv, which was the focus of the attacks, Russian drones also struck a market in the Black Sea city of Chornomorsk, killing 2 people. Denouncing the attacks aimed at civilians as heinous, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky was of the opinion that the attack was specifically aimed to cause terror. On the 9th of November, in light of Russia's latest attacks on Ukrainian energy infrastructure, President Volodymyr Zelensky had reiterated the need for more air defense equipment.
The Russians have increased their strikes, increased their striking power, and are using more ballistic strikes. This means we need more air defense, more equipment reserves, and more precise and prompt work in the regions.
The situation in the eastern Ukrainian city of Pokrovsk is urgent as well, given that hundreds of Russian troops have entered the embattled city and are on the verge of capturing it. In retaliation, Ukraine has stepped up its own attacks on Russian oil and gas facilities deep behind the front, seeking to cut off Moscow's energy export revenues. In what President Zelensky called a completely justified response to the ongoing Russian terror, Ukraine launched long-range Neptune cruise missiles overnight against targets on Russian territory. Away from the battlefront, the G7 foreign ministers met in Canada this week, wherein they urged an immediate ceasefire in Ukraine and voiced their unwavering support for the country's territorial integrity. But with Russian President Vladimir Putin not budging from his demand that Ukraine give up more territory in its east. If it wants to bring an end to the war, the task is cut out for Ukraine and its allies.
At least 12 people were killed and 27 others were wounded in a suicide bombing outside of a district courthouse in Pakistan's capital Islamabad on the 11th of November. According to the local media, a splinter group of the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, Jamaat al-Ahrar, claimed responsibility for the deadly attack, in which the attacker detonated the bomb close to a police car after waiting for up to 15 minutes to get inside of the courthouse. A day earlier, in a separate attack, a military-run college in Varna, near the Afghan frontier, was targeted. But all recruits at the cadet college were rescued following a raid that killed all 5 militants. Our next report gets you the details.
In nearly 3 years, Islamabad had not witnessed a suicide attack. Unlike the insurgency-hit provinces of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan, which are frequent targets. This sense of security was shattered on Tuesday afternoon at 12:39 p.m. local time when a suicide attack was carried out. Outside district court buildings in a residential area of Islamabad, killing at least 12 people and wounding 27 others. The rare attack in the capital city sent people fleeing in panic, leaving shattered glass and charred vehicles on the road outside the district court buildings. Witnesses recounted the powerful and horrifying blast which had caused pandemonium within the court premises.
It was around 12:25 when we were sitting in a cafeteria that the blast occurred, and it was a very strong and terrifying explosion. It was a powerful and terrifying blast and caused panic. We all rushed outside.
On the same day, a splinter group of Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, Jamaat al-Ahrar, claimed responsibility for the suicide attack, further threatening to carry out more attacks until the implementation of Islamic Sharia law in the Muslim-majority country. Set up in 2007, the Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, also known as Pakistan Taliban, is an umbrella alliance of Sunni militant groups who have been waging an armed insurgency against the Pakistan government for close to 2 decades. Calling the Tuesday tragedy a serious security lapse, the residents of Islamabad underlined the need to address the security situation, which otherwise might affect foreign investment and Pakistan's ability to host international sports matches.
In my opinion, this is a serious security lapse, and we must learn from it. If such attacks continue, how will the world trust us? Who will come to our country to play sports or invest? Therefore, we must further strengthen our security and prevent such attacks at all costs.
On Thursday, Pakistan's Interior Minister Mohsin Naqvi told the Pakistani Senate, the upper house of the parliament, that both attackers involved in the 2 suicide bombings in Islamabad and Wana were Afghan nationals.
We have identified the culprits of Islamabad bomb blast. The suicide bomber who carried out blast outside the court was from Afghanistan. The suicide attackers of Wana Cadet College were also from Afghanistan. The attackers in both incidents belong to Afghanistan.
Islamabad has repeatedly accused the Taliban government, which stormed back to power in Kabul in August 2021, of providing a haven to anti-Pakistan armed groups, particularly the Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, a charge denied by Kabul. In recent weeks, bilateral relations between Islamabad and Kabul have plummeted, and last month more than 70 people were killed in the worst cross-border fighting witnessed in years. So far, the insurgency waged by the Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan has focused mainly on Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province bordering Afghanistan. But the rare suicide attack targeting the capital city of Islamabad is a statement of sorts, underlining both the intent and ability of the militant group.
Violence and arson attacks by the illegal Israeli settlers on Palestinian properties has sharply increased in the occupied Palestinian territories of West Bank. This week, masked Israeli settlers hurled stones and torched dairy trucks, farmland and other Bedouin structures, injuring at least about 4 people. The Palestinian Red Crescent has said that it has treated 3 people who had been beaten with sticks and stones. Now, the Israeli police claims that 4 Israeli suspects were arrested and then held for questioning and taking part in these attacks. So what are these illegal Israeli settlers up to? Our next report gets you the details.
Since the harvest season began in the first week of October, there have been at least 158 attacks across the Israeli-occupied West Bank. There was a 13% rise in settler attacks in the first 2 weeks of the 2025 harvest compared to the same period in 2024. The settlers target olive trees because Palestinians see them as a symbol of their connection to the land. Olives are the backbone of Palestinian agriculture, a sector which accounts for around 8% of the Palestinian GDP and more than 60,000 jobs. The Palestinian Agriculture Ministry recorded a 17% increase in financial losses for West Bank farmers from the start of 2025 until mid-October compared to the same period last year. The CWRC has said that more than 15,000 olive trees have been attacked since October 2024. Many Palestinians, as well as Israeli human rights groups, say the Israeli army has deliberately abetted the settler attacks.
An olive tree means everything to us. It means life and death. Even though we knew since the morning that it was risky, but we insisted on coming. Although we have another piece of land, but I came here because an olive tree means everything to us. It is our heritage and origin in this land.
This chilling CCTV footage will give you a glimpse of the kind of violence that is wreaked by the Israeli settlers. Masked Israeli settlers hurled stones and torched dairy trucks, farmland and Bedouin structures, injuring 4 people, The video obtained by Reuters showed dozens of masked Israeli settlers holding sticks, brake vehicles, and burned trucks belonging to Al Junaidi Dairy. Reuters was able to confirm the location from the buildings, road layout, gate and barriers that matched satellite imagery of the area, and by the Reuters aftermath coverage showing the same scene. The date was verified by the timestamp on the video. The Israeli army said that soldiers rushed to Beit Lid and Deir Sharif after dozens of masked Israeli civilians attacked Palestinians and set fire to property. It said 4 Palestinians were treated for injuries. On the 13th of November, Israeli settlers set fire to a mosque in the West Bank on Thursday. Charred walls and broken windows could be seen inside the mosque, while on the exterior of the mosque, inflammatory slogans were spray-painted. According to Palestinian residents, the fire was put out before it could spread much further. The Israel military said it dispatched forces to the scene to review the incident.
What happened last night is that a group of settlers carried out a heinous attack on Haja Hamida Mosque that is located between Deir Istia village and Kifl Haris, northwest of Salfit. This attack comes within the framework of the declared war against the Palestinian people by settlers with the support of the occupation government. This attack violated the sanctity of places of worship and mosques. There were racist slogans written on the mosque walls.
Home to 2.7 million Palestinians, the West Bank has long been at the heart of plans for a future Palestinian state existing alongside Israel. But successive Israeli governments have repeatedly expanded these illegal Israeli settlements rapidly, fragmenting the Palestinian land. The United Nations, the Palestinians, and most countries regard settlements as illegal under international law.
On the 12th of November, Cambodia and Thailand traded fresh accusations of clashes along their disputed border. The officials on both sides reported gunfire across the boundary between Thailand's Sakyo province and Cambodia's Banthe Menchai province, in which the Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Manet said that 1 civilian was killed and at least 3 others were wounded. The escalation in hostilities has come after Bangkok had paused the implementation of a US-backed peace deal just 2 days earlier. The suspension of the agreement and the renewed clashes has now put a question mark over the future of the fragile ceasefire. Our next report gets you the details.
The Southeast Asian countries, Cambodia and Thailand, who share an 800-kilometer frontier, had agreed to a ceasefire in late July.
1, 2, 3.
The following 5 days of clashes that killed at least 43 people and displaced around 300,000 civilians on both sides. The truce, which began on 29th of July, had come following intervention by US President Donald Trump, as well as Chinese diplomats and Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, who chairs the Association of Southeast Asian Nations or ASEAN bloc. Last month, both sides signed a joint declaration agreeing to withdraw heavy weapons and allowing ceasefire monitors access to the border. However, on the 10th of November, Bangkok paused implementation of a follow-on deal to wind down hostilities, claiming a blast from a newly laid landmine in Sisaket province had wounded 4 of its soldiers.
ที่เกิดขึ้นที่กองทัพภาคที่2แล้วนะครับแล้วก็ชัดเจนครับผม
I received the reports about what happened in the northeastern area. I agree and support what the armed forces have done. It will be stopped until things are clear. I will tell MFA and the Defense Ministry that we will follow our desires. We thought that the security threat had eased, but it has not actually decreased. If it doesn't decrease, we cannot do anything.
Bangkok has often accused Phnom Penh of laying new landmines along their border in breach of the Ottawa Convention banning anti-personnel mines. The suspension by the Thai army put in jeopardy the next steps planned as part of the agreement's implementation, which included the release of 18 Cambodian soldiers detained in Thailand. On Wednesday, Cambodia's defense ministry said that Thai troops opened fire at around 3:30 p.m. local time in Prechan village. Resulting in 1 death and at least 3 injuries, further calling for an independent investigation into the incident. The Royal Thai Army, on the other hand, claimed that the Cambodian troops had fired into Thai territory, prompting Thai troops to take cover and fire warning shots in response. On Thursday, the ASEAN observers met Cambodians who were injured in recent border clashes with Thailand. It is to be noted that in the long-running dispute between the two countries, dozens of kilometers in several areas are contested. The competing territorial claims by both countries stem largely from a 1907 map drawn when Cambodia was still under French colonial rule, a demarcation which Thailand has argued to be inaccurate. In 2013, a UN court ruling had settled the matter for over a decade, but the eruption of current crisis in July and subsequent ceasefire violations have only worsened the long festering wound.
And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of World at War. If you want to reach out to me with any comments, feedback or suggestions, please feel free to do so on the RD that you're seeing on your screens. I'm your host, Mohammed Saleh, and I'll see you again next week.